slipped and fell and found myself in 2 yarn stores this weekend. Oops. Hi, this is Kat. Nice to see you again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is called Librophiliac Knits, which apparently even I can't pronounce. So, yeah, I'm still wondering if I should just switch the name to Baba Black Sheep. Feel free to leave a comment below and tell me what you think. Is it too much of a mouthful or do you like it? I'm here to talk to you today about some knitting and a couple other things. Mostly I just wanted to check in and say hello. I'm still a super novice at this whole YouTube channel thing, and I'm having a lot of fun seeing if anybody's watching and, you know, kind of trying to think up new things to talk about. So let's get started. Today I brought you a couple of finished objects, some old, some new, because I still have some older projects I wanted to show off. And I have one thing to show you that I did not make because I mentioned it a long time ago and I thought that I would finally trot it out so that you could see what I was talking about. So let's see. We'll start with that first. This lovely beast, oh my goodness, can you even see? It is a sweater that my aunt knit for my mother, her sister-in-law, probably before I was born. So sometime in the 1970s, this red, amazing, shawl collared, very thick yarn sweater came into being. My aunt is a very prolific and skilled knitter. My children and I have been the recipient of various gifted blankets and some sweaters, and they're always very well done and hold up just amazingly. I spoke about her before because she made my dad a sweater that he has been wearing for all of my life. And this was sort of the companion sweater for my mom. And red is notoriously the favorite color of my mom and all of her sisters, or it was at one point in their life. So it was kind of fun when she brought this out and let me have it. And this sweater ended up accompanying me to Paris when I lived there. And I put it underneath a black leather jacket, and it became sort of the liner that kept me warm all winter the year that I lived there. And it was perfect because it wasn't too big. I didn't have to buy a different coat. Just a straight, barely lined black leather jacket was perfect for the weather there all through the fall and the spring. And this sweater, as a slight addition, made it perfect for the winter too. So I was all set, and I got to have, a special piece of family history with me through my whole time there. And then I brought it back. And I think during my Marie Kondo phase, I'm regretting it now, got rid of the black leather jacket, but no way am I going to let this sweater go. So I still have it, and it's great. And my dad still has his sweater. My mom hasn't asked for this back. She did ask me to knit her a different sweater, but then she decided she didn't like it. She made me re-knit it 5 times. 5. This is why you should be careful when you promise to knit things for people, because you have to remember who they are. And my mom is the queen of shopping. It is her favorite thing to do, and she finds the most amazing deals, She'll go to off Fifth, the Saks Fifth Avenue outlet store sort of situation, and she'll find things that were $300 marked down to $30, you know, or something like that. It's just crazy. But it means that I have watched her buy multiples upon multiples of the same thing. And she used to do it for me too. When I was a teenager, a picky teenager, and lived in her house, she would bring me home 5 pairs of black pants and then have me try them all on, and I would get to keep one. But the idea, now that I am the adult, the idea of going out in search of clothing for my very picky child and coming home with 5 different options and then having to go back and return 4 of them, it just boggles my mind that that was how she wanted to spend her time. And, you know, I really appreciate that level of love and commitment. But it meant that when she wanted me to knit her a sweater, of course I said yes, you know, and then it wasn't right, and it wasn't right, and it wasn't right, it wasn't right. And then she wore it twice, and then she lost a bunch of weight, and she gave it back to me, and she said, now it doesn't fit me, but your dad said that he would like to wear it if you would just lengthen the sleeves and add a turtleneck. So I reknit that sweater 5 times. I do not want to do that again anytime soon. 5 times on the same sweater that I don't even get to wear, and that the person that it was intended for isn't wearing either. This is not my new favorite way to spend my knitting time. Do I look dewy? It is a little warm in here. I am in the one room in my house that is not air conditioned. Everything else is central air, and this room does not. So if I close the door so that it is nice and silent and the animals don't come and take over, then I get to be so dewy. All right. So then the next sweater I wanted to show you that I made a long time ago, and I wanted to kind of show it to you because I think we need to do sort of a before and after. This is the Hitofude cardigan. Oops, sorry, I'm just picking stuff off it before I show it to you. I haven't worn it in a while. I found it sort of buried. Oh, I love it. I love it inside out and right in it. Let me show you. This is the first like all lace sweater, and it was the first thing I ever purchased in my life directly from Japan, where I got to pay for it in yen. And at the time it cost like 200 yen, which turned out to be $2, and the yarn's a little bit pilly. This yarn was one of the first times that I really shelled out for something fancy. This is Neighborhood Fiber Company, and you know, all of her yarns are named after neighborhoods in like the Washington DC area. And I feel like this one was called something Hill, or I don't remember. It was a really long time ago, but part of what I wanted to show this to you is that I never blocked this. And you can really tell that like the lace is not doing what it's supposed to, and it's supposed to be kind of a you know, ooh, look, see how much the holes would be amazing if I would block. It's supposed to be kind of a kimono sleeve, like have a little drape to it and be bigger than your arm. My arm and this dinky little sleeve are, I mean, no matter how aggressive I get with the blocking, I don't think that's ever gonna happen now. I would have to make it again, which I would be very tempted to do. I remember knitting on this sweater while I was on the tour bus in Spain with my mom. My mom is in a band, like a community orchestra type band, not like a rock band. And she plays the flute. And every other year, this band takes a trip somewhere. It's mostly been Europe. And they do sort of a concert exchange. And the year that I accompanied her, they went to Spain, and it was fantastic. Highly recommend any chance you get to do, you know, bus tours through the countryside, pretty much anywhere. I mean, the world is fascinating. And it's always fun to go places and see people and eat food that's a little different than what you have at home. So this sweater, here, look, I wanted to show you the inside out. You get these stripes. And I think that looks super cool also. And I just love it. So I think I got impatient. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about with this sweater was the sleeve construction was unlike anything I've done ever before or since. You start out just making, you know, what seems like a long rectangle, just a long rectangle. Hang on, sorry. Cold. I don't know if you're a fan of fizzy water, but this one is Blackberry Lemonade by Waterloo, and it's delicious. And I'm very warm. So you start out knitting this lace pattern in just a rectangle, and you make a long rectangle, and it's all a provisional cast on to start. And then once you get to a certain length, and I probably was a little impatient, which is why the sleeve is sort of narrow. But once you get to the appropriate length, you undo the provisional cast on just for the length of your sleeve, and then you 3 needle bind off, put that sucker together, and you have a sleeve. And then from there, and you do it on the other side also. And then from there, you just keep working on this, but you like increase to create what becomes the front panel, because it's sort of it just drapes the front a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not even gonna try and move the camera because it just, maybe I can stand up and show you. What do you think? Oh, it's warm. So see how it sort of just flares to the front a little bit. Oh my gosh, it's too hot for this. But yeah, I haven't worn this in a long time. So it, yeah, it's, whoop, okay. It's a great cardigan for throwing over a dress in an air conditioning situation, or like, I mean, I picked a really warm yarn, so maybe a little too warm, but so it's really good for that last layer when, excuse me, it's a little cold, like later, and you just need something pretty to go with. I don't know. Yeah. So, ooh, sorry friends. And then those are my 2 old finished objects from long ago. One gifted and one made. More recently, I have been working on small projects, so I've got the latest in a series of, I actually fell asleep after work one day just looking at other people's variations of their beekeeper's quilt. So this is more hexie poofs for the beekeeper's quilt. People were making like 700 of them. And I don't know how many I have, but it's sure not 700. So that's gonna take me a while. And then I almost got on here and filmed for you about a week ago because I was losing my mind and I thought it would be kind of funny, but I also just really wanted to. I lost a sock. So I misplaced this sock. I completed this sock, and then I wanted to make its mate, and I had gotten about this far. See, here's the cuff and here's the heel, and I was making sure everything matched, and then I ran out of yarn. And so I added something else. I had a little extra of this gray. It's a nice gray. But then I wanted to make sure that my socks matched, because otherwise what are you gonna do with them? And I hadn't like taken measurements, and I'm making too big for me. They're a gift. So I had to find the two. I had to find the original sock so that I could complete, and look how mismatched they are. But it's inside the shoe, so hopefully it won't matter. I had some fun making them. A little crazy. But here, I finished. It's just a plain vanilla sock pattern. 72 stitches around, and the fish clips kiss heel, of which I am a fan. And then I think I looked up a toe just randomly on YouTube rather than find a proper pattern. Maybe I will link to it below if I remember. I don't think I know what it was. It just sometimes. Do you ever do that? Do you ever just like find anything to finish stuff? You know, rather than look for a specific pattern, because I didn't really need anything special. Ooh, I am very warm. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. And then I think that's it for my finished objects. Oh yeah, so now I have a couple. Well, I did bring this guy in because he's hilarious. My child and I were attempting to do some needle felting. And this is supposed to be a he calls it a hamster. It's supposed to be a guinea pig. Guinea pig, that's the word I want. But it's way too small to be a guinea pig, because look, it's a hamster-sized guy. And I had actually found doll eyeballs and a nose and installed all those, and he ripped them right back out again because he's 3. So that hilarious little dude has been lurking about our house. Okay, so then I have some things that I can just barely show you that I've been working on. We have the As If tee has sort of been on the back burner. I got like 2 whole rows past the original ribbing. It's a lovely black. I finally looked it up. It's Knit Picks Paragon. And it's really soft, and I'm holding it double, and I really like it and highly recommend. And then their Aloft, which is mohair, will be making up the top of it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I highly recommend you look up the pattern, because there's some pretty cool ones. And then just to show you off this project bag, my sister gifted it, made it. She's a very skilled sewist, and she sewed me this project bag. I asked her to as a Christmas gift one year, and I was carrying it at work until I started to realize that I was shredding it, and I had to reinforce the spot, or because I would put a whole bunch of stuff in it and then just carry it like this. It doesn't have like another handle. That was, in retrospect, I wish that I had asked her to make sure it had an extra handle, but so I had to retire it from being the at-work bag so I didn't ruin it, because I would cry. It's handmade by my sister. And then last but certainly not least, I am super excited to say that I am test knitting for the first time ever. And I no spoilers. Well, I'm allowed to do a teaser, so it is a toe-up sock. This is the part that looks like any other toe-up sock, and that's all I'm going to show you. I'm using this super fun yarn, Online Super Sock, in the colorway Streamer, and it knits up into these super fun stripies, which keeps my interest because they are so quick. It's like, oh, when's the next stripe coming? Oh, look, it's already here. Oh, look, I'm already through it. Oh, when's the next stripe coming? It just keeps going. And I'm having a grand time. And I've never participated in a test knit before, so it was really exciting to be accepted. I strategically did not mention it would be my first test knit so that they wouldn't be like, oh no, no. And she wasn't. I am test knitting for Liz Cork, and she has a website. Highly recommend. It's Corke, and I am really excited to be participating. You know, so far it's a sock, and as we know from recently, I can make some socks. So I thought that that would be a good way to dip my toes in the water of test knitting without overcommitting. I did commit in one way, and that is that I signed up to do the extra large size. So this is the biggest size that she was having tested, and it is way too big for me. So I have to find a happy recipient. I have a couple of people in mind, and I'm just looking up the measurements for you know, very large feet to try and make sure that these socks will work for the right size of person. And meanwhile, I get to participate in a test, and I get to finally use up this yarn that I've had forever. My mom gave it to me years ago. She was like, I don't think I like this. Here. And she gave it to me, and I have 2 skeins of it, so more than enough for big man feet or whoever I give these to. And I am carrying them around, and my much coveted, speaking of the reasons why YouTube is dangerous, it shows you all this cool stuff you didn't know you might want. The Beautiful Sister bag company, if you're not familiar with them, this is a super cool project bag that here, it's supposed to rest on your arm so that you can walk around and knit, not with your arms up in the air, but they developed it while they were following their kids around when they were at like a playground age, where you need to be mobile but you also want to keep knitting, and this way you can just tuck your project in and walk and knit at the same time. And it's nice and stable. And actually I was wearing it the other day, and I just popped it up over my shoulder when I really needed to, and that worked awesome. And here's the cutout of one of my son's feet, the monster son. He is one potential recipient. Yeah. So what else is going on? Those are the 2 things that I have been working on. I had a hat I had cast on. It was in my Ravelry projects as something that I had started for like a year, and I'm so frustrated with myself for this empty like thing, because I don't know what it is. It's like hard to erase them sometimes, and I did mean to eventually make it, but I just I didn't have it even started. I didn't know what yarn I was going to use. I didn't know anything. So I finally cast something on. I had this beautiful one-off skein of yarn, and I forgot to bring it in here with me, but I'll show it to you when I'm happier with it. I cast it on with the smaller size needle recommended, and you know, the appropriate number, and I was still working on the ribbing when I went to work, and then I didn't think about it, and I didn't switch needle sizes. I didn't even bring the other needle size, and I had more downtime than usual and just went to town, and I knit an absolute ton on this hat, and I got to the point, like, I got that, you know, if it's 2 inches of, look, it's my mouth. If it was 2 inches of ribbing, and then it was like 4 inches of crown before you start narrowing everything down so that you can bind off, I was working on it and working it, just flying, you know, and the pattern is nice and simple, and I was having a good time, and the yarn's really pretty, and so I was like, wow, this is great. And all of a sudden I like spread it out and looked at it and realized there was no way that this tiny little hat is going to fit my giant head. And that was sort of when I clued into the fact that I had left it on the ribbing size needles instead of the body size. And so I ripped it back. Well, first I brought it home and I tried it on the toddler, and it almost looked too small for him. And I was like, well, this is a waste of time. So then I ripped it back to just where the ribbing ends. But I am still not convinced that it will be big enough because it was pretty tight just at the ribbing. But maybe. I could try it again, or I could rip it all the way out and start everything, like move everything up a size. So like I was knitting it all entirely on size 6 US needles. And then it's supposed to be 8 for the body. And I think if I moved it up to 7 and 9, I'm just worried that then the holes will be too big and it won't be as warm of a hat, but I think it'll be okay. I'm just not sure, and I don't want to make a hat that I don't wear with this lovely yarn. I think that would be super disappointing. So I think I might continue it with the body and the size 8s. The way, you know, it's supposed to be 6 for the ribbing and 8 for the crown. And it's a free pattern. It's one of those things where you like look it up on their website. It's called the Hurricane Hat. It's on Ravelry. And super simple. Part of the reason that I'm hesitating is that with the same size needles, I kind of wish that I could just increase it, but it's all based on like a multiple of 9. And I'm not sure if I would have to increase it by like 18 stitches before it would work again for the pattern, and that might be too much. Like the joys of some knitting math, that might be too big, although then I really wouldn't have to worry about switching needle sizes. So maybe that's what I'll do, try and figure out if that'll work. Anyway, right now I'm test knitting, so I can't think about hats I won't wear until winter. It's July. Yeah, so that's the fun stuff I've been knitting on, and some fun stuff to show you that I finished. Let me take another quick drink here. And then there were just a few things I wanted to show you before I shut up and go away. I set a table over here so that I don't have to bend over every time. I slipped and fell and found myself in 2 yarn stores this weekend. Oops. Sorry, not sorry. The first one was to pick up the needles for my test knit. I didn't have a size, I didn't have the size that I wanted that was called for in the pattern. I probably could have knitted on something I had, but I also sort of wanted to try doing the magic loop method for once instead of, I usually work on shorties or double points, and I just felt like trying something different. I'm still working on my skills. So I went into this super cute store. Look, they gave me a bag called Harriet and Alice. It's in Edina, Minnesota, which is about 2 miles from where I was when I dropped my daughter off at a friend's house and realized that I wanted to pop into a yarn store. So what I ended up getting was what I assume will be a t-shirt quantity or tank top of this Rowan cotton cashmere. And it is super soft and it's a pretty gray. It's 85% cotton and 15% cashmere. So, not too cotton, not, and I don't know. Yeah, what? It was really soft and I couldn't help myself. So I got 4 skeins of that, but then I saw a couple other yarn dyers that I wanted to try, and I didn't want to totally overdo it. I was trying to be good. I mean, the next day that really failed, but so I got 2 of these little guys. They're called gumballs. They must have been from an advent calendar sort of situation, because this one is the 6th day of Christmas, and I just thought that was super fun. Look at that. And I've never used Knitted Wit, so I wanted to try their yarn. It's 100% superwash merino. And then the other one was the 11th day of Christmas, and I've already balled it up. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Sorry, crinkling noises. This is my little guy that I carry around for making more hexie poofs. So I balled it. There it is. Sorry. This one was kind of a fun speckly rainbow. Trying to make it focus. There we go. So I just thought that was really fun. This is the 11th day of Christmas. I get 6th and the 11th. No idea why. Whatever. It was all about the colors and not about the numbers. And last but not least, I was admiring those same ladies, Beautiful Sister, that made that yellow walking project bag. They were doing a project, or a collab on Etsy last year, and I was doing that thing where I was just coveting it. I wanted it so bad, but I just couldn't bring myself to buy it. I wasn't gonna make the pattern it was allegedly for. It was a shawl pattern, and I loved some of the kits they had put together. They were beautiful, but I couldn't decide, was part of my problem. And the other part of the problem was that I have more than enough. But they were working with Emma's yarn. And oh, this one's called Hot Tamale. And so I just got a mini skein, so I can have a chance to knit with her yarn and, you know, touch it and see it in person. This is an 80% superwash and 20% nylon, so like a standard sock yarn. I could just use it for like heels and toes on a sock, or I could use it for more hexie poofs. But this way I finally get to touch Emma's yarn, and I got to support a local yarn store, and it just ticks a lot of my boxes all at once. So that's pretty great. So that was the first one. And then the next day, my friend, hi Wax, told me that a local yarn store I had been to once before, somebody's here, was having a sale. Oh shucks. Oh darn. Oh, did you say the magic word? And I got really carried away. But I tried to be careful and circumspect in terms of picking things with specific projects in mind, because that is where, you know, I can get myself into some trouble. Like the gray cotton cashmere yarn, I actually grabbed one of their pom-pom magazines that I have at home and looked up the yarn quantities for a shirt on there with the intention of potentially making that. And if I don't make that, I have some other ideas kind of along the same vein that shouldn't take much different yarn quantity. I'm trying to like do some summer knits finally, because usually I just end up making whatever the heck, and nothing is really super summer. So I found this Lavender Loon, which is a yarn company that is local, I'm pretty sure, and not, or no, I lied. Wait, yeah, no. Yeah, no. If you didn't know I was from Minnesota, you do now. It says dyed in northern Minnesota. So Lavender Loon, look at this color, and it's floofy. This stuff is, the color is called Shy Away, and it's a lovely sort of peachy pink. And it's super fluffy because it is 38% baby alpaca, 25% merino wool, and 37% Pima cotton. So maybe maybe it won't be so hot. And I really want to make the moonset tea with this one, which if you have not yet watched Aro Knits and Pearls, it's her fault. these soft pink colors, and wanting to make that shirt. She was one of the test knitters for it, and she was talking about how interesting the construction is. It's a V-neck t-shirt, and a lot of the modifications that she made I would not necessarily make. It sounds like she's modest in a way that I am not, as you can see from my bare shoulders. But it looks like fun. I want to try it. So I got some yarn for it. Hopefully it's enough. That was all they had, and it was super on sale, so I'll take it. Well, maybe not super, but whatever. And then I have been meaning to, it's like in the top 10 on my queue, I have been meaning to make the throwback sweater by Andrea Mowry for ever. And I have this problem where like my yarn acquisition mojo is all about stuff like this. Just one ridiculous colored, like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this. I just love it so much. And, you know, in this case, that's because it is La Bien-Aimée, and it is Kumo, which is her 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% mulberry silk. And this one's called Life Aquatic, so it's a nod to a movie I really like. And, oh my gosh. It's so soft. This was the first thing. Okay, I keep saying it this way, but I'm going to tell you something about me that I have learned in my years of shopping. I am great at shopping and shopping and shopping and not buying anything, as long as I don't pick anything up and start with, if I have the intention to purchase one item, all bets are off. Like, my ability to control how much I am purchasing dies suddenly as soon as I pick something up. And I found this fairly early in our visit to Darn Knit Anyway in Stillwater, Minnesota yesterday. And then it was all over. I was pretty good. And then I saw this and I was like, nope, I'm getting this. And I can't stop hugging it. I have some problems with, you know, I'm not on the bandwagon of loving mohair as much as many. It always feels a little scratchy to me. And I've made a couple of things that have mohair in them and I can still wear them, but it's just that initial, like they have to warm up and then it's okay. But initially they feel scratchy, or sometimes they'll still bother me a little bit. My Sunday sweater, and I have a great pink fluffy hat. It was really funny actually. I went into one of my local yarn stores looking for alpaca because I have this problem with mohair, and they called me immediately on it and were like, isn't that hat you're wearing right now have mohair in it? And I was like, well, yeah, but it's still not my favorite. Idiot. So anyway, I went to this yarn store thinking, number one, I want to make sure that I'm buying the stuff that's on sale. La Bien-Aimée was not on sale. And number two, that I need sweater quantities of DK yarn, because I have so many things in my Ravelry queue, so many things I am plotting that I would like to make that are DK. And I have like one ball of this and one ball of that. And as much as I love stripy things, sometimes I want a sweater that's all one color, especially because in my actual wardrobe, like when I buy stuff, excuse me, from a store, I usually buy plain stuff, like all black or gray, or, I mean, I haven't bought white really in a long time. I keep looking at white yarn and going, well, I'm probably going to mess it up before but I'm spinning white yarn right now anyway. So like fat white yarn, anyway, I mean, you know, and so it's like, I buy things like this, and I do love some crazy stuff, but it just completely contradicts my basic aesthetic, which is like black, blue, jeans, simple. Obviously I do like some color, and my dress today is real loud, but anyway. So with that in mind, I ended up picking out, and I'm really excited about, I've never heard of this yarn before, but what should be more than enough to make the body of the throwback sweater by Andrea Mowry. This is called Apple Fiber Studio, and it is microbrewed in Bellingham, Washington, it says. Sourced and spun in South America. Colorway Fence Post. I've never heard of Apple Fiber Studio before, but they were on sale. And like 10 bucks off, which is per skein. That's not bad, not bad. And it's a lovely sort of variegated brown. And I have things that will go with this to be the, I don't know if you're familiar with the sweater I'm talking about, but it's like, there's like a zigzag right at the yoke, but otherwise it's just all plain. And I feel like this brown will be nice, cozy, like great for fall and winter, sort of. It could be an around the house sweater. I'm just really excited about it. I think it'll be great. And then I went back and touched this yarn so many times my friend yelled at me. So I got this too. Oh, it's also Lavender Loon. It's DK. So I did listen to that. There were only 2 skeins of it in this weight and color. So it's called Red at Night. It's 100% superwash merino. It is, it's kind of looking like hot pink in this color, or light, or whatever. My fancy camera maybe can't handle it. Oh, if we put it next to this is just a cherry red earring. See, it's more red than you think it is. But I've been looking for sort of this like ridiculous, like pinky red lipstick sort of color. I have, and I wish there was more of it, but I think this would still be very good. It might be really fun for like the background of, say, a Soldotna crop. I want to remake that with long sleeves, so I'll wear it more often. And this color is really fun. I don't know if it'd be enough, but it's just an idea. And then last, I really did fall in a hole and get myself in some trouble here. Last but not least, oh my gosh, this is the softest. Apparently I was on a cotton buying kick, but this stuff is called Cumulus. It's made by Juniper Moon Farm. It says it's, here, let me show it to you. You know, no picture is going to do this stuff justice. It is so stinking soft. It's Israeli Mako cotton and a touch of nylon for strength. And it's very aptly named for being called Cumulus because it is so soft. So soft. I love it. I had to go back. Like, usually once I've walked away from something, I can just be like, it's done. That was in the other room. Whatever. I'm not doing that anymore. Oh, there. See? Darn it. Anyway, they're so cute. I love a good pun. And yeah, so those are all the things I purchased. I got a little carried away. Especially after my little speech last time. Ooh. Sorry. Yeah. About how, I didn't want to spend much money when I have more than enough. Because I still do. I haven't, I mean, you saw it. I managed to get through one whole skein of sock yarn and use some extra. So there's and then this was what I've been using for heels and toes on various socks. So finally ran out of that. But not enough to make up for the pile I've got over here. Oops. Oh, okay. I think I got some cotton on my nose. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. And then, to quote the fabulous and talented Gigi, I got mail. I got an unexpected gift from my best friend. She sent me a candle. It has swears on it. Cover up this way. It smells like roses. I'm not a huge fan of rose, but I really like this candle. It's really good. I think maybe it's because it's not perfume. It's like a rose. Wow, oh man, it's really good. I just want to sniff it. Yeah, I didn't do anything. It's not my birthday. It's not her birthday. But she sent me a candle. Just for no particular reason. I sent her a picture of something I thought was funny, and in response she was like, "You're getting mail," and I was like, "What?" Oh, I was looking at my favorite murder paraphernalia on Etsy. I don't know if you listen to this podcast or are a murderino like I am, but some crafty people have made some hilarious stuff on there, and I really enjoy just looking at it. I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan. And one of the things that I saw was a tea towel that says, "Does this towel smell like chloroform?" And that's what I sent to her. And she wrote back, "Yeah," like YE and then ... Like she had smelled the chloroform and passed out. And then she sent me this candle. She's the best. Hi, Manica, if you're watching. All right. The last thing, I overcommitted because it's been a while, and this was the other thing that I was telling you about a little while ago, and I wanted to show you what it looks like so that if you ever see it, you will know this thing is great. This book is called Knitting for Anarchists, and I found it at like a Fiverr garage sale situation for the, I don't remember if it was like the Knitters Guild or the Spinners Guild or the Weavers Guild. Somebody's guild was having a sale, and this was in amongst many other things that I was not interested in, and it was the book that sort of changed my life by making me realize that there's no one right way to do things in knitting. That if you like how it looks, it doesn't matter. If you figure out how to do it a way that works for you, and then you can accommodate your own, especially the thing that I am speaking of specifically is continental purling, which is like, it's a hot button item to talk about. So like continental purling, when you're doing it the right way, you have to wrap the yarn clockwise, which involves this big extra finger motion, and it can be a lot. Like I still have trouble manipulating it. When you're knitting English style and you do the big throw, you're getting the yarn all the way around and then like anchoring it while you move stuff with the other hand. But when you're a picker, that anchoring that yarn to get it through to do the purl it feels like I'm going to get some sort of repetitive stress injury I don't want eventually. And I realized with the help of this book that you can do it backwards. And then the stitch, when you come back to it, will present itself as backwards. And you just knit through the back loop instead of the front loop. And you're on your way, or purl through it or whatever. But it makes any kind of like patterning, like knit purl, ribbing, so much easier, because you barely move, and you barely move your finger, and it brings the yarn front or back of the needle in the way that you have to. Where like when you're knitting with your yarn in your right hand for English style, you have to do a whole extra like knit or purl motion in order to move the yarn to the front or to the back or to the front or to the back. So like trying to learn how to brioche, it's like a whole extra step. There's so many steps already, and to do it with continental, especially if you knit where you wrap the yarn counterclockwise, or to purl with the yarn counterclockwise, it suddenly becomes such a small motion. And then you just have to realize on the next one that those purls are, you're going to knit or purl through the back loop, and then the fabric comes out looking exactly like it would if you had done the big, the big motion. It looks the same. It doesn't get twisted. It's so much easier. So this kind of anarchy I'm into. And then the one other book I was going to show you that I'm a big fan of, and I've very slowly been working my way through, is the Fleece and Fiber Source book. And this book is really fun as a spinner because it introduces you to different kinds of sheep. See, this little guy is called the Usson, pour exemple. Sorry, switch into French. And then it gives you examples of their fleece, and it looks like dirty and clean and spun and knit, so that you have so many. And they went through and tried to find as many different ones as they could. Look at Usson is like the tiniest sheep there is. Look at how much. They said we have a woman in the picture specifically so you can understand how small this sheep is. They're not usually quite that little. And that's like, in an ideal world, if I was going to be a backyard farmer, I would love a little tiny flock of those guys. But they're like a specialty breed that only lives in like France or in the Channel, like on the Channel Islands or somewhere that I can't get them from. Not to mention the fact that I don't know if I have enough time in the day as it is for the things that I am doing, let alone adding livestock to the mix. We keep talking about getting chickens, and I made a new friend this last year who breeds rabbits, not just any rabbits. Oh yeah, Angora rabbits. And I want one so bad. But it's so much work. Like the cage cleaning and the brushing, and like, yes, at the end of it I will have more Angora fiber than I will know what to do with, but I'm making weird faces. I'm not the most consistent spinner. That it's been weeks since we talked last, and that yarn that I was spinning up that I showed you, the big fat white stuff on my spinning wheel, is exactly the same as the last time I showed it to you. I need to take that huge bobbin off and put an empty one on and knit a whole second bobbin full, and then I have to figure out how to ply them, and the yarn's going to be so thick. I don't even know, do I even want it that big? Do I want to just knit with it as like a single ply? I don't know if I put enough spin in it for that. Meanwhile, my monthly Hello Yarn fiber subscription has been showing up, and I have not made a single extra one of those into a yarn of any kind. And I bought more. I just bought more yarn. What was I thinking? I was thinking it's my favorite thing to do, to knit and to watch TV and listen to books on tape, and yeah, can't help it. I just can't help it. Yeah. All right. Well, that's more than enough of this. It's been fun to see you again. I hope you're still enjoying this. I am enjoying this. If you have any ideas about, I was thinking that maybe if you have any ideas for me, please suggest them below. And I have been thinking about making a few more tutorials, just because, why not? Like, a million fabulous people have made them, but sometimes it's fun to hear it from your friends. Sometimes you want to hear it from the person that you like to watch the most on the YouTubes. I don't know if I am that for very many people. I mean, for all 20 of you, my friends, I love you too. That's great. But I mean, most of you either aren't here for actual knitting or you already know how to knit. You know, if you're watching a knitting YouTube show, whatever these you like calling these lately, then there's a solid chance you already know how to do it. But it might be fun to kind of talk through what I was talking through just now with yarn in front of your face so that you can see what I mean. I don't know. If you think that's a good idea, let me know. Otherwise, I am going to go away. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope to do this again soon. And, you know, hit the little thumbs up guy for me so that maybe I get a whole solid 24 subscribers. That'd be pretty neat. Bye.